Hello, good morning, my loves. Welcome to another Let's Talk Mental Health live stream where we just share where we're at in our processes. I try to answer questions or give insight on people's comments here. It's just an opportunity for us to open up and to be authentic and to take the masks off for an hour or two. So we start with just some housekeeping, and then we do some positive news stories. We do our snaps, which are just the wins of the community, and we just have a conversation because it's something that we don't do nearly enough of. So check in. Where are you? Physically, if you're new here, where are you? Where are you from? What's your story? I'm Amanda. So much here on the channel regarding my stories. You can learn more, but I'm happy to answer any mental health questions here in the chat. Usually we use these to raise money for the community through the donations and pledges using the super chat and super sticker function. I'm going to get back to the community outreach in October, but for these two streams in September, that's the pledges and donations are still going toward me getting a little stabilized with my mental health and handling some situations that have come up that have put a lot of strain and stress on me. So I want to make sure that I am able to be the best version of myself. For those of you that are new, I'm not a professional yet. So any insights that I give are based on my experiences and the experience of other people I've interacted with and little bits of the professional side and my education. I just got my associates in psychology. I'm working on my bachelor's in forensic psychology, but I am not a licensed therapist. So I do have some educational background, but mostly it's just my experiences. Dog's in here, Jake's in here, David's in here. Soviet surprise. Hello, Australia. I love it. Oh no, Martin's power just went out. Well, hopefully it comes back on, or we can be your thunder buddies. Scotland. I love it. Hi, Tyler. I'm doing good. How are you? Casca, warrior poet. Colorado. That's a little closer. Oh, England. Wow, we've got the whole world in here this morning. I love it. Good morning, Spencer. Tyler says, I'm doing well, just suffering with heat wave right now. It's warmer than usual here as well, which is saying something because Arizona is already really hot during the summer, but the temperature isn't falling at the rate that it usually would be for this time of year. So it's been challenging for us as well. Dude Stop says, I'm from the UK, but I want to move to America. I will happily trade you. We can trade places. Martin says, I'm watching my phone. Thank you, Wi-Fi. Yeah. I did want to say for anybody that didn't notice, I did just have a new reaction drop. There was a bit of a weird issue with it where it was originally blocked and then it got released. And because of that temporary block, it wasn't sent out. No notification was sent out to you guys. So I'm really sorry for that. But if you can go give it a watch after the stream, it will help keep the algorithm up and help it be seen by the pack here and by other people. And it's more of a positive reaction because I've been getting some feedback from people that it was becoming a little doom and gloom with the reactions. And to be honest, I was feeling a little doom and gloom. So I wanted to do something a little happier. And I'm probably going to do a couple more like that before we dive back into the more melancholy reactions. I want to mix it up, but I'm going to do at least one more uplifting reaction. But yes, it's Mariah Carey Hero. So if you guys can go check that out, I think it will help continue raising your vibes after this stream. Thank you, David. Jake says he's still dealing with some setbacks. Yep. It is definitely something we have to face, and hopefully we can share here. We can work through those together. So that's kind of the point, is being able to soundboard off each other and work through these challenges and struggles together. Matthew says, trauma is a string of Christmas light. One bulb goes on, all go on. Yeah, it's true. It can be where it just seems like one thing happens and it really does affect everything. So when you've experienced trauma or you experience a challenge like that, or even really heavy stress, it starts to affect everything in your life, and it can become very heavy if not mitigated. Warrior Poet says, didn't think I'd be able to make the stream today. Today is a little more hectic than usual, so I might have to hop out early. At least it won't be due to a storm this time. Silver linings. I love the silver linings, and we're just happy you can be here as long as you can be. Our dog wants to move to northern tip of Alaska or Canada. Yes, Mariah Carey, Spencer. Hi, Luandale. I hope I'm saying that right. Hello. More Scotland. David says fall is starting to set in and my SAD is starting to knock on my mental health. I'm thinking about doing something to address that because it is a perfect time of year, and I didn't do that last year. It is a perfect time of year to bring up dialogue about that because I personally don't deal with that here because Arizona, it's kind of the opposite where we're stuck inside all summer. And then by the time fall and winter starts rolling around, we are ecstatic to be able to go outside. So it's kind of the opposite. But I would like to create something to help for that. Maybe you can help me out there. Joe says, Beyond the Realms of Death by Judas Priest really helped my perspective, me being like the man in the song for many years. Araya says, I'm so happy I could catch the stream. I really needed it today. Well, we need your energy and presence as well. Hi, Sebastian. So I actually, you know what? I'm going to share our good news story, and then I want to talk a little bit about the idea of self-worth and self-esteem. Usually I don't really have themes. I kind of let you guys guide it, but it's something that's come up for me this week, and it's something I see a lot with other people here in the community, and I might make a video about it later and kind of include some of these points, but it's something I really want to talk about this morning. So we're going to talk about it. But first, I want to share our good news story. So newly disabled people aren't given a how-to guide. Oftentimes when this happens, they don't know how to reacclimate into society with these new challenges, with these new limitations. And there are disability doulas that are trying to close these gaps, which I think is really amazing. Usually doulas are individuals who help women during childbirth to get them through that time because it's a difficult challenge, right? So these individuals are doing that for newly disabled people, and I think that's awesome. The community care practice pioneered by queer women of color reorients newly disabled people to a different life, a necessity that has grown during the pandemic era. This Disability Pride Month, we're telling the untold stories of women of color, and LGBTQ people. Stephanie Lynn Kaufman, Mithklula, I can't pronounce her second last name, her hyphenated last name, began doing disability doula work long before they ever heard the term. From the time they were in middle school, they remember being responsible for big, intense crisis situations with their friends. Throughout, I can relate to that. Throughout high school, a close friend self-injured. Kaufman would drive to her house and listen. They would also take care of their friend's wounds, spend time watching bad TV shows, and eat ice cream. What they didn't do is blame or shame their friend. That's amazing. That's a positive message in of itself. Now, years later, disability doula work is a core part of both her personal practice and, their personal practice and their job as director of peer support organization project, LETS, which works to organize community-based mental health support for people with disabilities. The term crip doula or disability doula, coined by Milburn, describes the often invisible work of disabled people supporting people rebirthing themselves as disabled or more disabled, and it involves people with disabilities sharing the knowledge and resources that have come about through their lived experiences with others. I was hoping it gave a little more information on what this looks like, but it doesn't seem like it gives a lot of details. It's a very long article, so I don't want to read all of it, but I think that this is a move in the right direction of supporting each other, because oftentimes people that become disabled or people that are diagnosed with a mental health disorder and they're struggling with that confusion and that trying to reacclimate, they don't have anyone to advocate for them. So hearing that these advocates are becoming more and more prominent is a really big step in the right direction, I think. What do you guys think about this concept? Oh my gosh, Ryan, thank you. It's nice to see you too. Thank you so much. I guess we do still have the goal of the 250. So let's see how fast we can get there. And yes, I still keep track with pencil and paper. Soviet says, Aussie fun fact, there's a breed of kangaroo, I already love this, in the Northern Territory that can jump higher than the average house. How is that a thing? This is due to their muscular hind legs, and also houses can't jump. Even muscular hind legs, I just can't picture how that's a thing. I was actually just talking to Erin the other day, and I said, how are unicorns not a thing, but giraffes are real? What is more believable, a horse with a horn in its head, or this freakish creature with a 40-foot neck and spots that can lick its own? Oh my God. It just boggles my mind, the things that actually exist versus the things that are mythical. Thank you very much, guys. Oh, it says celebrate the first super chat to Soviet surprise. Well, thank you. I hope that I was gentle with your first time here, and I really appreciate. I'm humbled to be your first. So many messages I missed. I'm sorry. It gets so busy in here. If you guys do want to make sure that I see a message, that super chat or super sticker function is the best way to do so, because as you can see, it's kind of crazy and I can't read all the messages, but I do my best to kind of keep up a little bit. Warrior Post says, I'm going to have to look that up now, a video of that, right? I really want to see that now. So when it comes to the idea of worthiness, this is something that even I still have to combat, right? It's something that I still deal with a lot. And I want to share with you some of the things that I have been utilizing to rewire my brain, because my brain looks at certain situations and still says, you're not good enough, or there were these people that made me feel unworthy along the way in certain contexts and certain arenas, certain areas, right? And there were a few things that I came to when I was reflecting and meditating and whatnot and journaling this week. And one of them was kind of my nerdy, stuck in school brain self, where it's very easy to say, based on our own experiences, because that's what we know, that everyone's rejected me, thus I'm not worthy, right? But we are taking this sample of the population, which is how we do research. Fair enough. That's how a lot of research is typically done, is we take this sample from the population that's supposed to be representative of the population. But oftentimes, this is a handful of people. I rarely see more than maybe 10 or 15 people, right? Now, in the scientific community, if you try to say, this is a fact because these 15 people demonstrated this behavior, it wouldn't be taken seriously. You'd have to do further research. It would be something that, oh, well, maybe that's something to consider that we can do further research on. But a sample size that small wouldn't really have good validity, right? So there's a lot of issues with that. And when you're looking at, I know this sounds kind of funny, but when you look at it from this way, you're saying, okay, everyone hates me. Nobody loves me. I am unworthy because a few people didn't see my worth. Right? Thank you very much, Mick. We can be our own worst enemy. I know I am. Absolutely true. And I think that this will play into that a lot. Thank you very much for that pledge. I think this will play into that a lot, is we can. And I'm helping you combat that right now. So when we get stuck in that mindset, we're basing everyone, or we're basing this opinion, this mindset on a very small sample size. So even if you've had several boyfriends, several family members, several classmates, even if you've had a fair number of people that have said or done things to make you feel like you're not worthy, or they've rejected you maybe, or they've abandoned you, you can't, just on a scientific level, you can't base your conclusion here on this tiny little sample size. not only is the sample size too small, but there's also a lot of limitations and threats to validity for this sample, right? And I mean, this is true with any experiment, but you have the participation or the participant characteristics. So you're in this environment, right? And everybody is in a certain environment, be it they're in a town, they're in a community, whatever it is. We tend to connect with people in this environment, or we tend to attract the same types of personalities based on the things that we do, right? The things that we engage in. So you have this bias because you're only connecting with people in very specific areas and networks. So to say that everyone in this sweeping assumption that everyone hates you, that nobody accepts you, that you're unworthy because everyone feels that way. Look, there are 7 billion people in this world, and your little sample size of 20 is not representative of the population for many reasons. There's way too many threats to the validity of this for it to be taken seriously. So tell your brain that next time you start going into this, I'm unworthy. Well, why? You're basing this on the opinions of a few people, or the way that a few people have treated you, and you didn't deserve that treatment. But yeah, there's the subject selection bias. So you're tending to connect with the same types of people. You're tending to be in the same circles. So this happens a lot with relationships, where people tend to find themselves in the same cycles over and over and over. Well, that's because you're selecting participants, subjects that kind of fall in the same category. So if you keep meeting someone at a bar, for example, there's a specific type of personality that goes to a bar, or even a yoga studio. There's a specific type of personality that's going to tend to gravitate to those sorts of places. So you're going to kind of end up having the same problems, or maybe even if it's the school, and this is a specific environment where people are exposed to a lot of the same limitations, a lot of the same criteria. So of course, people tend to think in that pack mentality, so they're more likely to feel the same way about something. But that doesn't mean that you're unworthy, because the opinions of a few people aren't absolute truth, and the opinions of a few people don't dictate who you are, because you are worthy and lovable. And just for me, sometimes throwing a bit of, not logic, but being able to combat that voice in my head. That's what I've been working on through my journaling, is combating a couple new limiting beliefs that have come up in the past couple months. And I started doing EMDR. I had my first actual session yesterday, where we started doing the actual practice, and a lot of these things were coming up. So those are just some of the observations and some of the insights that I wanted to share with you guys based on what I learned yesterday. Hello, Johnny. My gosh, there's so much. Mick says, okay, so 3 wives and 3 divorces, I need to marry 100 more to get good data. I guess so. I mean, speaking from a scientific perspective, I think that it's very interesting in our society, and I say this as someone who's been through a divorce. I think it's very interesting how we look at divorce as failure, right? We look at divorce as, this means something bad about me. Like, I failed this marriage. And I know I went through that phase myself. But as time has gone on, I look at it and I say, were there things that I could have improved? Yes. And now I can work on those things and be able to show up in a more positive and healthy way through future relationships. But a marriage that ends isn't a failure. You still learn the lessons you need to learn. You can still love that person. You can still grow a lot. You can still learn a lot about yourself. So just because maybe you grew in different directions, maybe there was just very core things that you guys couldn't come together on or couldn't work out. For my ex and I, it was largely communication. No matter how hard we tried, even with couples therapy and stuff, we just did not speak the same language at all. And I now don't really look at it as a failure because I can look back and say, these are the things I've learned. These are the ways I've grown. This is what I can take from this and be grateful for that experience. And don't get me wrong, there are some parts of me that say, man, I really wish that for both of our sake, I wouldn't have maybe gotten married, because I feel like maybe we should have figured it out during dating. And I feel really bad that I put the other person through this as well. There's a lot to that. But at the end of the day, it's okay. We were part of each other's journeys, and that journey ended. That part of our journeys ended. And that doesn't have to be a positive or negative thing. It just is. It can be neutral. It doesn't have to mean anything about ourselves. And if it does mean something to us, if we sit and we reflect on it, and it means, hey, I feel that I could have done X, Y, Z better, then those are still those are still wins, because it gives us something to focus on, to work on. Oh, now you guys are talking about NES, and I'm so jealous. I just want to go sit and play Nintendo all day. David says, I read the Three Wives part before the divorce and instantly thought that sounded like an American TV show. You're not wrong. Chelsea says, I haven't been in your stream for a while. I just wanted to say thank you for being you. I'm going to check out, though, for a while or something. I think, well, I'm glad that you made it here, and I hope by check out you mean take some time for yourself and recalibrate a bit, because we all need to do that sometimes. It's why I haven't been posting as much on the communities. I'm just needing to find a way to rebalance a little bit during this time, and I really do appreciate the support that the community has been giving emotionally, financially, spiritually, all of it. You guys have been amazing. And I do struggle still sometimes with that feeling of being alone, of I have to get through this myself. And there is value in that, because I'm going to have to post a picture of this over in the community or something, but I brought this up before, that I have this knight statue in my den. And I named him Sir Cole after me and Aaron's movie. Much later, I got him years before me and Aaron met. But it's a reminder that I'm my own knight in shining armor, that it's important to have a strong social support network like Aaron, or like my best friend, or like you guys. But at the end of the day, nobody's going to come fix things for you. And that can be so frustrating. I'm actually feeling frustrated with that right now in my life. I'm not going to lie, because I kind of just want this angel to appear and give me all of the answers. And I'm just really exhausted physically and mentally. I don't want to keep trying to figure things out. I don't want to keep having challenges dropped on my lap. I don't want to keep having all these financial burdens. By the way, did you know ASU parking costs anywhere between $400 and $800? I said, yep, guess who's going to park up the street and ride her bike, because nobody can afford that, especially right now. I actually didn't even realize parking was supposed to be paid. And I had been parking in the lot and ended up getting a ticket. And it wasn't too much or anything, but it's just, oh yay, one more hit, And it was just very frustrating, very challenging. But there has to be a balance between accepting community and accepting help and being able to ask for help, and trying to do the work, right? And I feel like I'm trying to do the work right now. I feel like I got into the EMDR. I'm trying to focus on school. I'm doing these positive things. I'm actually revamping my morning routine right now. Do you guys, maybe I should do a vlog about that. Have I done a vlog about my morning routine specifically? I don't think I have. And I'm kind of digging my new rituals that I'm incorporating, and the boundaries I'm setting. So maybe I can do a vlog about that. What do you guys think? Because I think that that's really important. It's something that I'm missing. I'm needing to set more boundaries and find a way to stick to those boundaries, because that's my biggest problem when it comes to certain habits that I'm partaking in. Ooh, Saxon, hello from Ireland. Been a subscriber to your channel for a long time. Catching you live. Hi, welcome. I really want to go to Ireland one day. Speaking of, it's really funny that you come on right now because I was talking about wanting an angel, and when I think of an angel disappearing, I think of Monica from the show Touched by an Angel, and she was Irish, right? Yes, and she had that very strong accent. So when I hear the angel voice, I hear her accent. So I hear the way that she says God. It's a very specific way, and that's very nostalgic to my childhood. And every holiday, I'll go back and watch a few episodes of that because it just, even as a non-believer now, I still find the storylines very inspiring and uplifting. Do I have lipstick on my teeth? I feel like I have lipstick on my teeth. Andrew, sorry I've been listening and forgot to say hi from Liverpool. I love how much how diverse our audience is today. Aaron says words are nice, but actions mean so much more to someone in need. I've said that a lot, that if someone's drowning, sending them thoughts and prayers isn't going to help. And if all you can offer to a person that is struggling is kind words and maybe resources, maybe just listening is still something. That's great. But if you can, actions always are much better, whether that be financial, whether that be sitting with them, whether that be taking some stuff off their plate, like making them meals or helping them clean or watching their kid or whatever the case is. But I will say, and I talked about this in a newsletter a really long time ago, you can't ask a drowning person to give you their hand because that's an action. You're asking them to do something for you. You have to take their hand. You have to pull them out of the water. If you're wanting to help, you have to be willing to get in and get wet. And you have to be willing to initiate this interaction, because if I'm at rock bottom, literally the thought of reaching out and saying, hey, here's my hand sounds exhausting to me. So it's always better to take action where you can, and try to help those people. Part of a morning routine, Amanda's day vlog. Oh, that's right. I did do the day in my life vlog, but I don't think I've done a total morning routine. And those date drinks that I used to love so much, I remember my morning vlog, those date drinks that I love so much, they stopped making them. And I'm really sad because they were called Metadate and I can't find them anywhere. Not that I could get them right now anyway, but I loved those things and they're gone. I'm sad. Spencer says I'm enjoying my bald ass head. Lawandale says, do the blog, Amanda. Have affiliate links to monetize. We'll certainly take purchase suggestions from you. I have been thank you. I'm glad you trust me. And I do want to reiterate that when I do sponsored content like that, I've always tried it myself, and it's always stuff that I align with and I think the community will align with. That's a great suggestion. I will see, because I do have a couple of things that I've been incorporating and utilizing, and maybe I can get those companies to sponsor a video, and that's a great idea. I've been trying to do more of that because I don't want to, like I said, September is going to be the last streams where the pledges and donations here are going to me. I will go back to doing the community outreach in October. So hopefully we can get things kind of sorted out and balanced. Hopefully the pledges are good here in the next couple of streams. And if not, I understand. I still love you. I'm still here. But I have been trying to work with different companies and find companies that resonate with the channel and needs of the people here, so that I can try to get out of this hole while still loving and supporting you. I don't want to be inauthentic. And I've turned down quite a few just because I don't think that it would be products or things that would be helpful for you or things that I would believe in. Funny enough, actually, when I did the Magic Mind, I loved that stuff. I loved it so much. And I still do interactions and stuff for them. And I will sing the praise of that stuff all day long. But when they first reached out to me, they had honey in their product, and I'm vegan. And I said, I can't promote this product because it doesn't align with my values. And she said, I completely understand. Thank you for your feedback. And sure as crap, a few months later, I get an email from her saying, we changed our formula to agave after listening to your feedback. Would you be willing to reconsider? I said, absolutely, because number one, I tried the product before formally agreeing to a sponsorship, but number one, you're listening to the feedback of your consumers. That is paramount to a good company. Number two, you understand that I need to try it and stuff first. And number three, it's for focus and energy and mood. And I'm going, those are things that all of us here in this community can use help with. So yeah, very helpful. Mark 12 says deed parking spot in Chicago runs between 10 and 125,000 depending on location. Crazy. What? I don't know what a deed parking spot is, but that's more expensive than my car. I think that's my car did not even cost $10,000. Oh, which actually I want to bring up something kind of interesting that a couple community members had mentioned during the last stream about how I am saying that I am struggling financially and whatnot, but I mentioned driving a Tesla. So let me share a little bit about that, because this is a perfect lesson in you can't judge people without knowing their story. Because when Aaron first came home with a Tesla, I freaked out because I was going, we cannot afford a Tesla. You think the name Tesla and immediately it's connotated to wealth, right? I said, we cannot afford this. This is insane. We were already struggling. And this was quite a while ago. This was like 6 months ago now. We were already struggling, but I just kind of freaked out. Well, come to find out, he traded his existing car in for this car, and the payments are exactly the same. But because it's an older Tesla, we grandfathered into free charging. So that is saving probably $300-400 a month in gas for cars. So it's not like we could have afforded to go and buy a used car or something. So it was the exact same payments that we already had, but now we're saving $400 because gas here last I looked was like $4.87 a gallon. So I just think that's a perfect example. I didn't want to bring that up to say, haha, how dare you judge me? I wanted to bring it up because oftentimes we look at people and we say, well, they're not really depressed because they're smiling, or they're not really poor because they have these privileges, or they're not really, we have these schemas in our head and we apply those to people without understanding the whole story. And I think that can bring a lot of misunderstanding. So then people aren't really seeing the story. And I just wanted to touch on that to remind you that you never know. You can piece things together and try to assume, but we all know what assuming does, right? Metal Mark says gas here is around $4 a gallon. Yeah, and my school is an hour away, by the way, so I have a lot of driving for that. Warrior Post says, but did you know that you can save 50% or more on your car insurance by switching to Geico? I heard it from some lizard, forgot his name though. Funny thing is I wanted to go with Geico and they were the most expensive. I wound up with Progressive. So isn't Progressive Flow? So I wound up with Flow. Where I feel like I miss. Oh, Jake says, when I think of Tesla, I think about the 80s metal band. Is there a metal band named Tesla? I didn't know that. He's British. Oh, let's see. Soviet Surprise had said something there. I give my dad some credit. I think I missed something. I give my dad some credit. When I first told him I had depression, his first response was, what do you have to be depressed about? But that night he watched and read up about the black dog. I will actually also give him credit on that because it's kind of a knee-jerk reaction, and that can be very invalidating and hurtful to us as the person who's struggling. But from an ill-educated person who doesn't understand what depression really is, most people think that depression and sadness are the same thing. So when you say I'm struggling with symptoms of depression, or you're not depressed, by the way, you're living with symptoms of depression, there's a big difference. When we come out and we say that to someone, what they hear is, I'm sad. And from their outside perspective, they're going, well, why are you sad? And that's not even always in a malicious way. Sometimes it can be, well, why are you sad? How can I help you be happy? That is probably the full thought. And I imagine when it comes to your dad, it wasn't that he was going, well, what do you have to be depressed about? He was going, I don't understand, especially when we're the type of person, and I was like this, that I just tried to put on a mask and hide it all. So when I did start talking about it, people are going, well, what are you depressed about? You seem so happy. So there's almost always a second part to that statement. What do you have to be depressed about? Because you seem so happy, or because I'm not seeing it. So while it can be very invalidating, try to understand where the person is coming from when they say that. Maybe they will come around like your dad did and watch the documentary or do more research, and maybe they won't. And if they don't, that doesn't make your feelings invalid. And Spencer says, progressive sucks. I have it. Well, it was the cheapest option. David says, this was that starting question from Soviet Surprise. Oh, sort of random question. Does anyone else voice in their head that questions their self-worth sound like their dad? Mine does not, because I had two very loving parents who really encouraged me and stuff. So I don't personally have that experience, but I imagine that there are a lot of people in here that do. And it's interesting you say that, because I have told a lot, and I actually want to make a video about this, about parenting and mental health, is you have to realize that the voice in your kid's head is based on the things that you're saying. So that's why I try to be very careful about how I word and frame things, because I realize that the direction I'm giving, the advice I'm giving, the things that are coming out of my mouth are going to turn into his inner track. My son is 12. His name's Bryston. That's going to turn into his inner track. So it's not uncommon, even though I didn't personally have that experience. I know it's actually completely natural that our tapes, our dialogue, our narration is going to largely be the people that we've been around. And we have to go back and say, okay, these things aren't absolute truth. And we have to do that with the things people tell us, with the limiting behaviors of people. So when people are treating us in a certain way, we don't deserve that treatment. We don't deserve that behavior. There's some kind of lack in them that is causing them to act out in that way. And the less we can be susceptible to it, the less likely they are to target us. So it's never our fault, but the best thing that we can do is build up our own self-esteem. So if someone at this point called me fat, I got that a lot. I used to get called fat all the time. Or I'd be called, it was funny because there were time periods where I get called fat a lot. And then there were time periods where people would accuse me of eating disorders a lot. And then there were time periods where I get made fun of for not having a big enough bust. Then there are time periods that, well, my bust is too big and it's just distracting or slutty or whatever. I swear to God, people will always find something to pick you apart about and something to tear you down about. And the less you let it get to you, the less they do it. At this point, I do still have haters, but I can recognize these people are hurting. Hurt people hurt people. So these people are hurting. And when I can recognize that, I can say, well, that's your opinion. You're welcome to have that opinion. It doesn't have to affect me. But yes, I can completely understand the idea of that voice in your head being from somebody that was very close to you and very hands-on in your upbringing. That makes sense. Casca says, my mother ranted or other talked about her own trauma to me as a child. She was a ball of pent-up rage. Gassed me of feeling like there was no room for what I had to say, feel like it meant nothing. That's really tragic, because like you're saying, she had her own trauma and her own things that she was trying to navigate, and she didn't know how to be present and to listen and to be there for someone else. And I can actually relate to that, because lately, and that's another reason of why I haven't posted a lot of content or anything, it's been really hard for me to say, okay, when I do a video or I do a stream or whatever, I want to be present with you, and I want to be in a good headspace, and I don't want to feel any particularly negative emotions. Obviously, well, emotions aren't positive or negative, but you know what I mean. I don't want to feel these uncomfortable emotions, right? I'm okay when I do a reaction if the reaction brings up something emotional, but I don't want to go into it feeling that way because I feel like it is insincere and disingenuine. So it's very important for me that I can be in that good place because I want to be able to listen. I'm trying really hard to incorporate both of our positions, our thoughts, and everything because I don't want to do that, but I understand how difficult it is. And I'm doing less because when I'm doing that, I can say, okay, right now I'm going to get on the stream and I can be present for everyone else, but when I get off, I can't. Like when I get off, I can't be reading all my emails all day and reading my texts all day and engaging in that all day long. I'm having to check out. But if we're in a really bad place and that perpetuates for a long period of time based on trauma or whatever the case is, then we can get stuck in that place where we're barely staying alive ourselves and we can't help other people, even the people we love, even our own children, even our siblings, even our parents, even our best friends. We just don't have the energy or really even the insight and knowledge of how to help those people. Again, it has nothing to do with you. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to be valued, and your points and your pain and your struggles back then and now matter. And I'm sorry that she had not gone through her own healing to be able to provide that for you. But I hope that we can listen here. I hope that we can give you some of that which you deserve. Hello, Eugene. I want to get to our snaps. I don't know how long I'm going to stay today, at least obviously the hour, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. We'll see how the pledges go, how the chat goes, and go from there. So this is the Snap Cup, the sacred vessel, where we share the wins of the community. It is inspired by Legally Blonde 2 for those of you that are new to the community, and it's just a way of sharing warm fuzzies and celebrating each other's wins, but it comes with a song, so everyone sing along with me. I get to do it this time. Erin's not here to sing it, so snap cup time, gather ye round, friends and foes together, united and bound. Pass it to your neighbor instead of blowing up, and you'll find harmony and love in a snap cup. Oh, Erin still found that $2. They probably scrounged and changed from the kitchen drawer. Thank you. I love you. All righty. So we have Tammy Moira, and again, I'm sorry that this is doing screen names instead of display names. So Tammy says, I convinced a friend to let me help her pack for her move, and I feel more self-worth from helping others, one of my core values, and have done more for myself since then too. Big snaps to you for connecting with that, and it's very true. While we have to fill our own buckets, we also can do so sometimes by helping other people, and it's really just gauging where we're at and what our needs are, but service can be very cathartic. And thank you very much. I'm working on it. It's getting better. You need to help me get snap lessons. That's what the pledges will go toward. Totally kidding, by the way. But yeah, I think that it can be very, very helpful to engage in that. And in fact, Erin, this year for Mother's Day, I always really loved the table from first night that says, in serving each other, we become free. And he ended up making that. So that's now our kitchen table. And I don't know why my nose is running. I guess my morning breakfast was a little too spicy. But I really always resonated with that because especially in a relationship or a friendship, it very much comes down to you have to be filling your own bucket, and this has to be a mutual effort. But when both people genuinely serve themselves and each other, there's freedom in that. There's a lot of freedom in that. Oh, thank you, Soviet. This chair is really squeaky. It's getting worse. I need to do something about that. Soviet Surprise says the music reactions are wicked. You mentioned wanting to do something less doom and gloom. What about some comedic style, like some good old Weird Al? I actually haven't listened to a lot of Weird Al, so I could absolutely do first time reactions to that. Oh, Erin says, you never did post the picture of that table. You are right. You need to send me one and I will post it over on the community thing so you guys can see that. Oh, Warrior Poet is asking about Aaron's arm. So yeah, Aaron broke his wrist a couple weeks ago, and it's been a trip for sure. It's been a very interesting experience. Opportunity for growth, right? Apparently I need Weird Al in my life. Okay, Shannon says, I have trouble meditating. I can never get out of my head long enough to get into that space. So instead, I just pray to the gods and hope that they hear. So I was praying the other day and I grabbed a necklace out of my box without looking. It was my Odin dog tag necklace. I went outside and immediately saw two ravens about 20 feet away from me, which for those who know are signs of Odin. Anyway, I sat down and started talking with them, asking what should I do. Literally out of nowhere, Tai Chi popped into my head. I went outside, called the VA, and got signed up for online Tai Chi classes right away. I start on Monday. Sorry for the book, laugh out loud. It's not a book, it's fine. And did anyone get to listen to the song I suggested last week? I'd love to hear opinions on how it made anyone feel. I am not sure which song that was. I haven't really listened to anything new other than what I've been reacting to right now. So I personally did not. I don't know if anyone else in the community did, but that is such a cool story. Thank you for sharing. Snaps to you and snaps to Odin for showing up, for presenting energy in that way so that it was something that you resonated with and understood. I think that I'm not really a believer and I can't pinpoint a set of dogma per se, but I do think that there is energy transference. And I think that these things, these signs show up in ways that will resonate with us and that we can understand. Like for me, when I was on the ledge, it showed up as Chester in Lincoln Park because I would listen to that. The universe, whatever energy is out there, presented that for me because it was something I would listen to and resonate with. And I think when we're paying attention to that, when we're aligned with that frequency to be able to receive those signs and stuff, it can lead to a lot of really cool little serendipitous moments like this, big snaps. Let's see. Ryan says, well, Amanda, we won my mom's SASA back. Awesome. We missed a bad hurricane this time. I wonder if I have a 4-leaf clover above me. I wonder, Ryan, what am I saying? Protection snaps to you for, I know that you were fighting really hard to keep your mom's SSA. So I'm glad that you were able to get that straightened out and that you missed the hurricane. Big snaps, big wins. Oh, Shannon says it was The Fighter by In This Moment, and it's the same for me. I follow the signs. I remember my mom, after my dad passed away, telling me, you always ignore the signs. And I will never forget that. And I really try to pay attention, even if I don't always understand them. I really try to pay attention and align with that. I've been trying to shift my frequency and shift my vibrations a little bit so that I can be more receptive to the positivity and to the signs and to the direction. Because I was saying earlier, I'm waiting for this angel to pop up. Well, the ironic thing about that is even if she did, I wouldn't listen to her. Because I'd be like, it's just a hallucination. You're just sleep deprived, Amanda. So we have to pay attention to those messages. Scorpio 1999 says, sorry to keep recycling. This is a win. I know what's coming. This is a Warrior Poet. And I'll have to give it a little bit more time and use to make absolutely sure, but I'm almost certain my voice has regained around 90% functionality. Yay! And it's on its way to full recovery. I'm sorry I can't be there for the stream. Got an appointment with my therapist today. Hope everyone here has a good weekend. Love y'all. Maybe this wasn't. Warrior Poet, is this you? I keep forgetting your actual screen name, and I know that you were having the voice issue, so I swear this is you, but now I'm going, you're here. So maybe you just need it anyway, but big snaps to you for being able to recover your voice, and it's completely fine. I think that it's not recycling per se because you're sharing the growth of this situation. Yeah, I'm here in spirit, but not body or something. Okay, I wasn't going crazy. I'm going, I know that Scorpio is warrior poet, right? Or am I just having memory shards right now from being tired? But yes, big snaps. And I'm glad that you have the appointment with the therapist. I hope that goes well. Please keep us updated. Oh, okay. He says that he thinks that it was going to conflict with his stream. Oh, Sylvia, thank you again. I think I need to add up here. That snap about working reminded me, on days when I'm feeling particularly low, I like using low rather than depressed. It's a great switch. I do my best to make my bed. For some reason, looking at my bed made feels good. There's an entire video about that from, oh my gosh, what's his name? Oh my gosh, I have that same habit where I make my bed every day because of this video, but he's a captain, I believe, in the military, and he shares the importance of making your bed every morning because, number one, it starts the day off in a positive direction, and number two, because even if the day is awful, you have that nice made bed to come home to. So it's a great win. It's a great habit to get into. Kevin Kahn says, hey guys, snaps to all of you on an amazing job. Sorry I've been absent for a while. My wife is due to give birth to our second child any day now. I do keep checking in on all of you when I have a moment, and I'm proud of you all. Hope to hop on the stream later today or once everything settles down at home. Love you all. Are you in here? I don't know if you're in here. I haven't seen you. Absolutely no need to apologize. I'm glad that you are taking time for yourself and your family, and big snaps to you and congratulations. I hope everything goes well through that process and you guys are able to bond and that you have a healthy, happy baby and a healthy, happy family. So big snaps to you. Jake says congratulations. Big congratulations. Anthony J. Adventure says, I didn't bring water up here. I'm sorry. Anthony J. Adventure says, I inspired someone today, 2 weeks ago. Okay, so I go to a recovery thing once a week for parole and love helping others anyway. And the one woman asked what my coping skills are. I told her hiking, biking. I mentioned my videos and showed her a video from a mountaintop on the Appalachian Trail. And she came in today saying she wants me to guide her Appalachian Trail. So this weekend, her and I are triple dating with 4 others and going to have a picnic and meditation session on the mountain. That's so amazing. Big snaps to you. I love it. I would love to join if I was closer. I love to hike and bike too when the weather's not like it is right now in 104 degrees outside. So that's awesome that you guys were able to connect. You were able to share that coping skill, that skill from your toolbox with her. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, and big snaps to you for sharing with her and for being willing to do that. Mick, you're so amazing. My daughter has a win. She's gone 2 months without a seizure, without medication. Big win. That is a big win. I'm so happy for you guys. I'm happy that she continues to grow and heal and that you continue to stay out of prison and stay here with us and allow us to go through this journey with you. Luke Alone Production says, I passed very hard exam today. It was ancient green language. I'm going to assume that means Greece. I don't know what ancient green language is, so I'm assuming that was a typo. It was Greek language. Let's say I'm not gloss with foreign language, but I only passed it. I passed it on a highest note. Now only one thing left, and I will pass college. Love it. Big snaps to you. I understand how difficult it can be to learn another language and how difficult exams and stuff can be. So big snaps to you for that. That is a blank snap. I don't know how that got in there. Just some awesome person says it's been a difficult week after losing my grandfather because of an accident. But instead of doing something negative like drinking in the weekend, I decided to make him a rose carving with carved letters in the back with a message for him. It was done just in time for the funeral this past Monday. It was really peaceful to make everything by hand. I love that you bring that up because when my mom passed away, I also spiraled into a lot of bad behavior, and that's not the most effective way for us to actually heal and grieve. And it's not the best way to honor them and to really connect with their memory and connect with their energy. So big snaps to you for that, for being able to get through such a difficult time without turning to alcohol or other vices. That's amazing. I'm very proud of you. Big snaps. And I would really love to see the rose if you feel like sharing it. I love handmade gifts and stuff. David, sorry, snaps for Amanda for being brave and strong. Thank you, David. I will give myself some snaps. Thank you. Oh, Luke alone says, I'm sorry, Amanda, for this autocorrection difficulty, and thank you. It's okay. You should hear some of my autocorrect fails. Actually, here, my personal favorite was when my son's father and I first split, and we were still on pretty decent terms. And I was saying that I needed some cough drops because there's these little echinacea cough drops that are really helpful. And I was sick, and I went to text him, and it auto-corrected it to I need some cough drops. And I'm going, I never use that word. I hate that word. Why would it be in my dictionary? That was so weird, but I feel you on the autocorrect. So good luck on your green language learning. United States Marine says, I made it through enough counseling to actually save my marriage, and I managed to have the patience to see the years of rebuilding the trust back. I was a self-destructive, lying cheater. I'm none of those things now. I'm mildly content now. I love you all. Well, that is a start. That is a starting point. Content is better than being depressed or upset. So I'm happy for you on that. I'm happy that you were able to go to counseling, that you build patience, that you're building the trust back. There's a lot of wins there. Big snaps to you. I'm very proud. Saxon Dark says, a while back, I told you a little story in a comment under one of your videos on your channel about when I lost my girlfriend / fiance after she was hit and killed by a drunk driver in 92. I do remember that. And I hope that being here in the community and being able to share and stuff is helping keep her memory alive. David says, I went to text my female friend, are you busy? Sadly, the T is next to the Y, so I texted, are you busty? Telling you autocorrect can do a lot. Spencer says, had a few birthday drinks, now doing what I do every year, taking a little more than a month break. I hope you enjoy your break. Please stay safe with the birthday. And I'm glad that you were able to celebrate yourself. I know that things can be challenging. Spencer says, I was on a verge of becoming an alcoholic, and I like that it was a few drinks. I'm okay with this, that it was a few drinks and that you were able to limit yourself like that. It's very important. Some people have to have the complete cold turkey, and some people can regulate. Like my mother was a recovering alcoholic, and she was really bad. Like it was before I was born, but she was a really, really bad alcoholic before I was born. And when she met my dad said, it's the alcohol or me. And my mom chose him, and they would have a drink together every now and then, literally a Michelob with tomato juice and salt was their drink of choice. But they would have that every now and then. And she was able to regulate herself and just enjoy that one or two drinks and be fine. And if you are able to do that, I think that that's completely fine because it's still progress, a lot of progress. Just some awesome person says, thank you. I'm almost in tears thinking about it again, but I'm so proud of my grandfather. He was always positive, loving, and active. He was a cobbler. I love it. So craftsmanship also runs in the family, so I'm sure that he loved that rose. I think he would have really loved knowing that you put, your heart and your artistic mind and your creativity into that. That was very special for his energy. Oh, that's what it is. I had these little tabs in here from before and forgot to take them out. So we had some blank tabs that I had forgotten to take out when I did the wins. Just some awesome person says, how can I share the carving I made? If you email it to me, my email is in the video descriptions. I would be happy to post it to the community if you want. I don't think you can post pictures here. If you can, I have no idea how. Jake Smith says, I cleaned up my area a bit and I finally replaced my old rundown mattress. Still needs work, but baby steps. Those are big steps. I love it. Getting a new mattress can be so therapeutic, just to be able to lay down on that fresh, soft surface, because mattresses wear down, they lose their softness, and don't ever look up what happens to mattresses as they get older. It's enough to give me anxiety. But cleaning up doesn't have to be a complete overhaul. As long as we're maintaining, it can be a, you know what? Let's tackle the junk drawer. Let's tackle this surface here, this counter, whatever the case is, my desk. It doesn't have to be everything all at once. It can be those steps, and that's not even baby steps. It's still a lot of movement in the right direction. So big snaps. Oh, they were little. It was hard to catch. Donut Predator. I got over my fear of heights and went skydiving. I went skydiving. Love it. Rocky Mountain climbing. I love that song. Maybe I should do a reaction to that. That song is really great. Big snaps to you for facing your fear. I'm sad that Edward's not here because he did this a few weeks ago too. That was one of his exposure therapies for his anxiety, was going skydiving and stuff. Love it, love it. I've been skydiving. It's very peaceful when you're falling, very quiet. I didn't like the twirling around. It made me kind of sick, but I loved getting over the anxiety. I loved feeling free. I loved just the silence and being far away from civilization. Just all that distance up in the air, away from everything. Let's see. Luke says, sometimes my autocorrection changes English words for Polish. I'm from Poland. Sometimes this is very funny. When I write something and it corrects to a similar word in Polish with different meaning, I've had that happen with French. It's funny. CP368 Production says, spoke to an 18-year-old aide at the nursing home without needing to take my meds afterwards. Snaps, forward movement again. I love those I love those little events where we go, hey, I did that. I was able to overcome that. I couldn't have done that a while ago. So big snaps to you for having that moment of, hey, I was able to overcome this thing that used to make me uncomfortable. Mick, now I want Krispy Kreme. Now you're going to set off Aaron's cravings because donuts happen to be his thing. And I think we're going to have a little piece of dark chocolate after the stream today, because it does help me kind of rebalance sometimes if I just have a small piece. If I have a big piece, it will kind of short circuit my brain from the caffeine, but a little piece I think will be a big help. I could take Krispy Kreme, place donuts in my mouth right now. Spitzer says Tim McGraw. Yeah, so what I was singing was Tim McGraw, Live Like You Were Dying, and one of the things in there is he went skydiving. I love that song. I grew up on Tim McGraw. Matthew Azaria, I fought hard against relapsing on the substance I was addicted to, heroin. Huge. Congratulations. I'm proud of you. I'm glad that you were able to fight, and please keep fighting because you are stronger than the heroin. You're stronger than your addiction. I think we have one more here. Y'all need to stop about food and treats because you're going to make me fat and give me diabetes. Karian? I think that's how you say it. Or Kiara? Kiara. Okay, Kiara. It's Kiara in Cockerill. And I was struggling there. I deleted gambling apps on my phone. Huge, big snaps. Deleting apps that are distracting or that lead to bad habits or that can really feed the addiction. It's a big step. Proud of you. Big snaps for you. So that's all of our snaps. If you have any other snaps here you want to share, please let me know. If you're wanting to pledge for, please, not more of my singing. Nobody wants to hear more of that, but every now and then people will pledge for weird Amanda dances and stuff like that. Please feel free. CP368 says, it's been years since I even saw Krispy Kreme. Walmart stopped selling them, so you don't see them around anymore. We have a Krispy Kreme up the street. I'm very sad that Krispy Kreme does not offer a vegan donut. I would probably go there, but they don't have any options. I would just like a vegan glazed donut, because a lot of the vegan donuts that I've seen are also gluten-free, so they just tend to be thicker. And while there are really good gluten-free vegan desserts, I feel like anything that's gluten-free tends to be a bit thicker. And when it comes to donuts, I want that light, airy texture. So I just don't think gluten-free donuts, at least none of the ones I've had, they're not really donuts. They just tend to come out like little mini cakes. And I that's a whole different taste. It's not like they're not appealing. They're just not donuts to me. They don't satiate that donut need. So it's versus I have Married with Children box set, best birthday gift ever. David, now we have somebody that we can watch Married with Children with. Erin says they do have vegan donuts. Really? They have vegan glazed donuts? Why are you just now telling me this? I feel like there needs to be some kind of punishment for the fact that you've lived with me all this time and I've never gotten a vegan donut from Krispy Kreme. I just found out recently. It's a couple miles up the road. Well, I think we could probably scrounge together enough change to go get a vegan Krispy Kreme. Oh my gosh, for CDP368, the closest Krispy Kreme is 93 miles away and across an international border. Yep, you're probably not going to get any of those anytime in the near future, although my dad was the type of person that would go to great lengths if he was having a craving. I remember one time he was craving a specific restaurant that was about an hour and 45 minutes away from us. I want to say, I know it was well over an hour, and he was craving this restaurant, so that's where we ended up going for dinner that day. That was one way, so we ended up spending probably 3 or 4 hours driving time just getting to this restaurant, but he was happy. Aaron says, yeah, I can't go there. You know, exposure therapy. You have to face your demons. I'm kidding. When you're not ready, you're not ready. Chick Smith, you're done messed up, Ron? It's hot in here. So it's prices. My favorite was when they show him skydiving. The instructor asks him if he wants a parachute. He just laughs at the instructor and jumps. I feel like I missed something there. Good grief. I didn't realize Krispy Kreme was such a rarity. Let's see. So we are at 182. Thank you, Aaron, for that $2. So we aren't at 180 because that's kind of looking like an unlucky number to me, thanks to Final Destination. So yeah, we are at 182 of our 250 pledge goal today, and I'm just hanging out a little bit longer. I feel like you guys give me energy, so I'm feeling pretty tired, but I'm feeling some positive energy. And Ricky has food on his butt. Aaron, did you put kibble on Ricky's butt? Because he's just laying there with kibble on his butt. Oh, everybody has to laugh, right? Oh, Aaron says, blah, their vegan donuts are only in the UK. It's ridiculous because McDonald's has the McVeggie over in UK as well. The US is very behind. Oh, thanks. Mick made it an even 200. Thank you for keeping me evening me out. I have some chili con carne. So I never, even when I ate meat, I was never a big chili fan to begin with, but I never liked meat in my chili, even when I ate meat. So that doesn't sound appealing to me. That would not be the meat I would miss. Fried chicken, that's the one I miss sometimes. Eugene says, it's like for me, I can't get Checkers or Rallies anymore because it's not in my area anymore. We have one, and I actually grew up going there with my dad all the time when I was younger, back east. I used to go to Checkers all the time. But we have a Rallies here, but I don't think I've ever gone to it. There's just nothing there that I could eat. Edward! Hey, all, better late than never. I hope everyone's doing great. We're talking a lot about skydiving and stuff. So a bunch of people, one of the wins for the week was a cub going skydiving, and then other people were sharing their stories. So we were getting some some skydiving experiences, and I was saying that you needed to be here to give your expertise in the conversation. Metal Mark says, what is scary for people in the US is that some ingredients found in food is banned in Europe. Yeah, it's true. It's very hard here because I try to eat as clean and healthy as possible. And it seems like everything just has random hidden ingredients. Or what I really love is natural flavors, how they can get by with putting natural flavors as an ingredient. I mean, technically speaking, dog poop would be a natural flavor. So I don't get how it is legal to be that vague about an ingredient. And a lot of the times, I know with natural flavors, it can be crushed up bugs that they use for coloring and stuff. So I try to avoid things like that. But we are also big on high fructose corn syrup, and we have so many things in our food that just really shouldn't be there. Who's talking about Blink-182? Metal Mark's talking about Blink-182. Where did that come from? I feel like I missed something. Holy cow, Christopher Palmer says, I love skydiving, 335 jumps and counting. You know, I could see myself doing a couple, but it would not be something I do regularly. David says, there's a reason it's hard to find a Taco Bell in Europe. I used to always call Taco Bell rent-a-food because it's not like you're actually purchasing it, because it's leaving your body before you even get out of the restaurant. David says, I'm waiting for ingredients that you don't want to know. Mick says, I've eaten the tail off a live lizard in training once. Training for what? I know that you're going to say military, but how does that prepare you for, I suppose it would help break you psychologically? What? Oh, Razmataz says, hi, Amanda from New Zealand. You're stronger than you know to talk mental health and to put yourself out there. More power to you. Thank you, and welcome to the stream. Edward says, there's so much crap in USA food. Mental health tip. What you put in your body plays a huge role in your mental health, not just your physical health. It very much does, and that's a whole entire puzzle piece. And my happiness boost is learning to emotionally eat the right way. So when we get in these funks, it's very common for us, or not funks, when we get into a full-blown depressive episode, it's very common for us to cast aside our health, our nutrition, our physical activity, which I've been guilty of that lately. But we tend to cast that aside and then wonder why, when we're depriving our body of nutrients and we're depriving our body of all these feel-good hormones, we continue to get worse. So it's a catch-22, and I have told myself that I'm probably going to go rollerblading or something tonight, that I have to do something active today, because I've really been struggling in the past month and a half to get enough physical activity. So probably like once a week, I'll watch an episode of my soap opera while doing the punching bag and some kicking and just getting some of that aggression out. I've been walking a lot still, and I walk a lot on campus, getting around and whatnot. And I did a little bit of yoga this morning. So it's not like I'm being, I don't want to say lazy, because I know that's not the right term. It has nothing to do with laziness when we're feeling this way or when we're struggling. But it's not like I'm unwilling to do things. It's just my mental capacity right now to try and say, okay, here's the things I need to do today. I'm trying to triage, and I'm trying to make time for myself. And I will fully admit that I just haven't been making enough time for my physical activity. So that's the other one, is finding your fitness. That's another puzzle piece in the Happiness Boost course, is finding your fitness, because being active doesn't necessarily mean going to the gym or doing circuits on YouTube or whatever. There's a lot of different things. And right now, walking is a big one for me, just to kind of stay active. It's still too hot to go out a lot and do biking and rollerblading and stuff, but I'm hoping it'll be cool enough this evening that I can do something. It's absolutely true. Shannon says, my wife is allergic to oregano. Most times when they put seasoning on the label, it includes oregano. Oh my gosh, that's always fun finding that one out. That's frustrating. Saxon says, I once did a skydive for charity and we raised $200,000, holy cow, for cancer research. This was years ago, but it also helped me conquer my fear of heights. Yeah. I'd gone skydiving with an ex and he was afraid of heights and I was afraid of flying. So we were both facing our fears. And I actually did get to fly a plane. That was on my bucket list. And I did get to fly a plane once, a little private plane once. So that was a pretty interesting way to combat my anxiety. Edward says 12,000 steps per day minimum, sweat the mental challenges away. I do think that there's a lot of value in that, but I do want to say that while being active can boost a lot of those neurotransmitters, the dopamine and whatnot. And you see my sign over here, the happy people don't shoot their husbands. It's from Legally Blonde, where she's saying exercise releases endorphins and endorphins make you happy and happy people just don't shoot their husbands. I really like that reminder. But at the same time, when our mental health is declining, when we do find ourselves in that darkness, it's important to remember that there's a lot of different factors at play. And this is a really big puzzle piece. That's why it's its own module in my course. It's a really big part of it, but you can't just go work out and expect things to go away or get better. It can definitely be a deposit in the happiness bank, but it's not going to solve everything either. And I think that's a huge misconception. And people have accused me of that before, of saying, well, you don't understand that depression can't be cured through nutrition and fitness and stuff. And first and foremost, I was never claiming that depression could be cured in general. I'm saying it's very important that we have a solid foundation, number one, and number two, that we're building our toolbox and our skills. And that is a whole other module in the course, is how to build that toolbox. It has a bunch of suggestions and stuff for things to put in that if you're struggling to come up with ideas of what can I do to move in the right direction or to make a deposit in the happiness bank. So I just wanted to clarify that it is very helpful. It can offer a lot of benefit, but no one thing is going to bring you to that place that you want to be. It's not going to bring you to your optimal mental health. It's not going to bring you to the top of your own happiness spectrum, which is something I talk a lot about in the course, is your own happiness spectrum, because that looks different for everyone. And we don't really pay attention to that what happiness looks like for me is going to be different than what happiness looks like for Edward or David or Casca or Eugene or anyone else in here. It looks different for all of us, and our mental health is very different. The things that help us are very different. And eating a balanced regime and having those activities to keep ourselves active and to sweat out some of the uckies, as Edward was saying, is paramount. But there's a lot of other things that have to be in play as well in most cases. Edward was saying, of course, it's not a solve-all. There are 8 to 10 things you need to do. I was simply saying exercise and diet are 2 vital components. I think that there's 5 things you need to do, and that's my 5 puzzle pieces. And it's finding your fitness, it's finding where you're at, doing that evaluation. So in the beginning, you kind of have to do an evaluation, find your strengths, find your wins, find where you want to be. Then it's starting to incorporate how to emotionally eat the right way, right? And then it's finding your fitness. Then you have to learn how to, those 3 C's for sustaining happiness. So you have to learn how to cope when things get difficult, and you have to learn how to build a toolbox. And then the last one is cutting the crap. It's how to let go of things that aren't serving you anymore and how to recognize what isn't serving you anymore. So those are the 5 puzzle pieces. And there's a lot of videos and cheat sheets and implementation sheets and stuff in the course that will allow you to incorporate those in your life. Francisco, you know what? I'm going to pet the little Francisco spiders just to spite you. Saxon says, I also reached a milestone this year since giving up alcohol. I'll be 25 years sober next month. Congratulations. I'm proud of you. Eugene says, no, Francisco, bad, Francisco, bad. Francisco says, I recently took a boxing and I've found that to be a great anger release. Yes, it very much is. Snaps to you for taking up boxing. That is why I have my punching bag in the living room. Is a couple times a week I like to just turn on my soap and have it back. Christopher Palmer says, Cessnas are fun, but probably not if you're afraid of flying. David says, my cat hunts the spiders and keeps me safe. Why I love my cat. See, my friend had a cat that would hunt the spiders, but then bring the spiders to my friend because she was proud of her hunt, of her accomplishments. So she would then bring the spiders and leave the dead spiders for my friend. I'm starting to lose my voice. I've not taken up boxing, Francisco, but I just kind of like to punch the bag and to get some of that anger out. I like to try and keep good form, but I'm not doing anything with any structure. So yes and no. Shannon says, my therapist does immersion therapy for my PTSD. It works really well, but it can never erase everything. Now I'm trying to learn to deal with the sound of dying screams in my head. I'm glad that that you're being able to have that different modality, because immersion therapy can be very helpful for PTSD. I have PTSD for different reasons, and I've been doing EMDR to release some of the trauma. I was talking about that earlier. And I really do hope that it helps you silence that in your head and process that and be able to heal from that so that you're not haunted by that. All right, so I think maybe 5 more minutes and then I will get off of here. Oh, Eugene says punching bags actually feed your aggression. See, I think that it really depends on the person. For me, it alleviates it. And I've talked to therapists before that back that up. And I've looked at a lot of studies that it's very dependent on the person. For me, for example, if I get really angry, one of the things I do is watch the channel Dead Meat, which has kill counts. And for some people, that depiction of violence could make them more aggressive, more upset, more heightened. But for me, it helps me process those feelings. So anger is, number one, it's never a primary emotion. Anger is always beneath something else. But anger is still just an emotion. And as long as we're processing these things in a positive way, if watching a kill count or going into a punching bag is your go-to for processing your anger and that works for you, then I consider it a win. Oh, thank you, Soviet, for getting. Now we are at 2:05, so we're 45 short of the goal. We have a few more minutes. Starring on a dono, only if you can, but remember, all the cool kids are doing it. All the cool kids. I was never one of the cool kids, that's for sure. David says, my struggle is I have a lot of anger in me, but it's over my physical health and family health problems, so I don't have a place to aim the anger at. It makes it hard to resolve. See, for me, I can get angry sometimes and it doesn't even really have a trigger or a reason or a purpose. It's just there. And that's when these types of skills can really help. I mean, actually, that's when the watching kill counts can really help. If it's a specific thing, that's when physically either running or taking to the punching bag or whatever tends to help more. Eugene says, I use puzzles to access the logical and reasoning part of my brain. It gives me balance. See, I've done puzzles too, and sometimes that can be great. But if I'm angry, that doesn't work for me. That's not a skill that I can turn to. I actually have, and I've been posting a lot of my journal entries over on Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure to do that, Mental Amanda. But I actually have lists of here's the things to do when you're feeling this way, and here's the things to do when you're feeling that way. And so I have different skills for different times. So that I can kind of know when to utilize that. And that's big in DBT therapy and dialectical behavioral therapy. I did this the other day with ATM machine too. And then my brain goes, oh my God, you moron. in DBT, there's different skills for different times. So sometimes if I'm needing to ground myself, that is when I would do a puzzle or something analytical like that. But if I'm really angry and I have those symptoms of anxiety, or I just have a lot of energy in me that's needing to come out, then something more active would be amazing. Thank you. Christopher says giving up a jump next week. Oh, to help out. Thank you. That means a lot. Well, I hope that you still feel like you get to fly with us today. Thank you very much. Aw, and that was your first super chat too. I hope that I'm really being good to you guys that are that are giving your very first chats. That I'm nice and sweet and there's candles and fruit and what's the other one? Flowers. That's what it is. Flowers. So on soap operas, whenever someone is intimate, there's always one or all of these components. So I do not have, where the heck is it? Here we go. Here's my candle and here's my flower for you guys' first donations. So I will be as romantic as possible. CP368 says, I'm supposed to be using martial arts for my anger, but I haven't been able to afford a bag yet, so I haven't been able to do it for the 4 years of treatment. I actually got mine really cheap on Amazon, but I'm not sure what your specific needs would be. I feel like there's stuff that you could do without the bag, that there's other modalities that you could utilize, but I'm not an expert. David says soap opera intimacy. I still have to picture you stuck in my head. David, I think we need another husky voice reading over on Patreon. So a while back, I guess it was about a year ago now, when David, a little over a year, when David visited for my birthday, he I showed him my Bold and the Beautiful book, and he started reading sections of it in his husky voice. So if the reactions and pictures and all that wasn't incentive enough to go over and join Patreon, David's sexy readings of Bold and the Beautiful novels should definitely seal the deal. And it all supports the community. So just to clarify, all the Patreon pledges still are going toward the community, not toward me. Saxon says, so true, Warrior Poet. I don't know what Warrior Poet said. I usually play a WWE game, one of the Dynasty Warriors games, to help release any pent-up aggression. See, games never really helped me with that, which is weird because the kill counts for the movies and stuff do. And right now, tragically enough, because of the strikes that are going on in Hollywood, James over on the Dead Meat channel isn't able to cover most movies until the strike's over. He's choosing to stand in solidarity over the strike, which I respect. But right now, he's not able to cover any movies or anything, so there's not a lot of content, and I'm pretty sad. But hopefully everything will be resolved and content will continue as normal. I know that he's doing games and stuff, so actually that might be something that you guys would resonate with. I know he's going to be covering games and stuff, but that's just not really my preference or outlet, so I hope it works for him, though. Had a dream about him last night. Must mean I'm going into what do you call it? When you are craving something. My brain's starting to go offline, so I guess this is probably a pretty good time for me to sign out. We did get pretty close, so we got 230 out of 250, so we got pretty close, and I appreciate you guys' love and support and help. Anyway, withdrawal. Thank you, Edward. That's the word I was looking for, is withdrawal. Good grief. The recovered addict can't even think of the word withdrawal right now. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and I will see you soon. I'm planning out, like I said, a couple of vlogs. I think I'm going to start doing more shorts and stuff, just because that might be easier, just to give some insights and stuff over there like that. So hopefully, much like James on his channel, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to expand and to dabble a little bit in other mental health content, just to see which guys resonate with, and I will still be doing the reactions. Don't worry. I just want to branch out and see what else. Because originally I really wanted to do vlogs and stuff, so I'm hoping to keep a steady balance. But I love you guys. I will see you soon. Thanks for spending your Friday morning or afternoon, depending on where you're at, or evening, I suppose, with me. And I will see you soon. I love you so much. Mwah.